The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management. When you walk out on that field, ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. We learn. I'm going to the house. When I step on the field, I send you all the message. And this is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's hunt now. We learn. I'm going to the house. We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this trying to remind the heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to go through like the chin straps. This ain't action. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. So much cry from him. He's a man. He can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make a big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's who I am. When I step on the field, I send you all the message. And this is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. You had my work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. We learn. I'm going to the house. It's a wrap. Game over. No, sir, this game has just begun. You are listening to The Lunch Break, Throwback Thursday on the legendary KYOK, AM 1140 and 92.3 FM. As you can hear, somebody's out there like, well, that's not AJ. I am not AJ Jones. AJ is on assignment today. I'm Willy Gibson, sitting in, broadcast journalist based in Columbus, Ohio, where it is a brisk, almost warmed up. It's 35 degrees now here in Columbus, Ohio. And I know the Houston people are like, what in the world? No, actually it's 37 degrees, which is balmy for December 9th here in Columbus, Ohio. But again, you are listening to The Lunch Break Throwback Thursday on the legendary KYOK. AJ is on assignment. I am thankful that he has entrusted me with his platform for today. And hopefully I do it justice and am able to come back. It's not a wise woman I once heard say, the thankful get more. And I'm truly, truly thankful. Well, somebody's out there, well, are you thankful because you get more? No, because I'm thankful I get more. And I'll leave that there. But we are streaming live in addition to KYOK on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So any comments you have, please feel free to include them on the platform of your choice. It's interactive. I'm in the driver's seat today, but I want to hear from you. So use those platforms to utilize the comment section. Also, my social media at Twitter. On Twitter is at Will Gibson 7, as well as at Will Knows Sports. Facebook is at Will Knows. Follow one, follow all. None is not an option. And let's have fun. I look forward to it. I'm thankful again for the lunch breakers. I have known AJ about a little more than a year now. And since I've been in contact with him, since we've connected, this family has become truly good to me. Mr. Keith Hennig, Miss Sydney Brown, Big Mike. I won't do it like AJ does, but Big Mike, Ferdinand, all of it. Todd Malcolm. We've had some interesting exchanges, and I'm thankful for he and everyone else as well. Big Time Floyd as well. So Let's just have fun. Let's just have fun. Breaking news, as AJ said several times, I do cover the Cleveland Browns, the Ohio State Buckeyes in the Big Ten Conference. But just as we started the show today, hey, Miss Wright, how are you? How are you? Just as we started today, the Browns announced that linebacker Anthony Walker has been placed on the COVID-19 list ahead of Sunday's game versus the Baltimore Ravens. He's a second Browns player this week to be placed on the COVID list. Tight end David Njoku was placed on the list on Tuesday. So pretty likely that the Browns will be without both starting tight end David Njoku as well as starting linebacker Anthony Walker for Sunday's divisional game against the Baltimore Ravens. Pretty much a de facto playoff game. Browns stand at 6-6 going into that game. 5 games remaining. Ravens, Raiders, Steelers, Packers, and Bengals to finish the season. And it's pretty much put up or shut up at this time for the Browns. 6-7 at this point in the season. I think you can pretty much end the playoff talk as a possibility at that point, that you still could, they still could enter in the playoffs with a run. 4-1 possibly could get them there, but it starts Sunday. It starts Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, who they just played in a scheduling quirk. They're coming off a bye, but the week before their bye, they played at Baltimore and they lost 16-10 in a game where the defense forced 4 interceptions by Lamar Jackson, which I don't know what more defense can do I don't know much more they can do, forcing 4 turnovers, and yet the offense does not secure a win. But we'll see what happens on Sunday. Speaking of the Cleveland Browns, former coach Hugh Jackson, also breaking news as well. Reports are that Hugh Jackson, who is currently the offensive coordinator at Tennessee State University, will on Monday be named head coach of Grambling State University. So, Hugh, I've had the opportunity to cover Hugh during his tenure with the Browns. Nothing but a nice man to me, to other media as well. Took many L's for a lot of things that went wrong in Cleveland that were not his doing. I won't tell that story here. My understanding is he has a book forthcoming that will detail those situations. But Hugh Jackson leaves a gap on the staff of Tennessee State head coach Eddie George that he will have to fill as for his offensive coordinator. But congratulations to Hugh Jackson. I believe Monday is the official press conference announcing Hugh Jackson as the head coach of the Grambling State University Tigers. And as I said, I have covered the Browns since 2018, and it's always interesting to me as to speak with fans, because fans are number one is short for fanatic, and they are pretty much the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to their teams. And I recall a conversation I had, I believe it was 2019, after the home opener against the Tennessee Titans. I believe the Browns lost that game 43-13. Hugh Jackson was the coach. And a fan spoke with me and he said, I'm going straight to Instagram. I'm going straight to Instagram. I'm like, okay, why would you go straight to Instagram after this game? He said, because I want to see the first Cleveland Brown that posts something on Instagram. Why do you want to see someone? Because that lets me know where they are. If this loss doesn't sting, if this loss doesn't hurt, and the first thing they do is go to social media, then that's a problem. That lets me know all I need to know about that player. And I thought about it like, man, that's their job. I said, well, what do you do when you get home from work? He said, well, I sit down and I relax and I get on the computer. Well, that's what they do. They got on the computer. But I think we have this false sense of, well, they should feel the way I feel. They should be hurt. And I'll be honest, I was that way myself. I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. Have been almost 30 years, more than 30 years. And there was a playoff game. The Browns played, or I'm sorry, the Cowboys played the Seattle Seahawks. And in that game, Tony Romo was mix up kicking ball and playing ball, and there was a snap for a field goal, and he fumbled the snap, and the Cowboys lost the game. And I was in Baltimore, Maryland, with some family, my uncle Anthony Harvin and some other family members. And I remember I was so upset. I was steaming, walking around for 15, 20 minutes. Just, I can't believe the Cowboys lost. I can't believe the Cowboys lost. I'm walking around, scowl on my face. And then finally I came to myself like, wait a minute. Jerry writes me no checks yet. DMs are open, Jerry, if you want to have that conversation, but I digress. But Jerry writes me no checks yet. Why am I upset about this loss? And then furthermore, it really further confirmed how I felt when I began covering the league and going in the locker rooms. And I'm not saying people don't care about losses. I'm sure they do. But you go in the locker room after a NFL game, win, lose, or draw, and it's sometimes hard to tell what just occurred. Did they win? Did they lose? People are getting ready. Where are we going to eat tonight? How's the family? What am I going to do when I get home? Things of that nature, because it's their job. It's what they do to provide a living for their family. So it's always, I always keep that perspective in mind when I think about those things, a loss, and especially when I speak with fans. It's always good to root for your team, but I think perspective is key when it comes to rooting for your team. So that's just the open here. We'll take a quick break here on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday on KYOK. We'll take a moment to hear from Butterball.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's AJ Jones with the lunch break on the legendary KYOK, AM 1140 and 92.3 FM. It's that time of year where we are reminded of all the things we should be thankful for, and that it's more blessed to give than to receive. So with that in mind, on Wednesdays from now through Christmas, we'll give you a chance to win a gift certificate from Butterball. That's right, you can win a gift certificate for a Butterball turkey on Wednesdays on the lunch break between 12 and 2. Just be the right caller, and your Butterball turkey will be on us at the legendary KYOK, AM 1140 at 92.3 FM.
All right, back on Throwback Thursday on the lunch break. Legendary KYOK, AM 1140 and 92.3 FM. I am again Willy Gibson, sitting in for AJ Jones, who's on assignment today. And I have a question for the question of the day for all everybody that's listening. I want to hear your thoughts. I know it's December 9th, a little more than 2 weeks before Christmas and Christmas season and Christmas cookies and Christmas carols and shopping and things of that nature. Christmas songs right now are starting to be played, or probably have been played for quite some time. And I have a list of my top 5 favorite Christmas songs, but I'd like to hear yours. Again, comment on the platform of your choice. My Twitter is open at Will Gibson 7, at Will Knows Sports, Facebook at Will Knows. But top 5 Christmas songs for me. Number 1, Silent Night. Silent Night by the Temptations. Let's clarify that. Silent Night by the Temptations. I'm sure there are other phenomenal renditions of that song, but for me, to hear the Temptations sing that lets me know it's really, really, really Christmas time. Number 2, This Christmas by Donny Hathaway. I remember growing up as a youth, that song being played around the house on the radio, in the car with my mother, driving throughout, shopping, going different places. And that song, to me, has always had a special place. So, and Donny Hathaway, This Christmas, not Chris Brown. No disrespect, with all due respect to Chris Brown or anyone else who sings that song. The Donny Hathaway rendition is the one for me. Number 3, Oh Holy Night. Anyone that hears that song, and the song itself is does it. So that goes without saying for me. Oh Holy Night. Number 4, Feliz Navidad. Jose Feliciano, again, as a youth, hearing that song, knowing, promising people I could speak Spanish because I could sing that song, and probably only knew Feliz Navidad, and that's it. But and then number 5, the Christmas song by Nat King Cole. So for me, I mean, I want to hear yours again. It doesn't have to be 5. It could be 1. It could be 4,080. I don't know if we have time to go through all 4,080 today, but I just want to know your my top 5: Silent Night by the Temptations, This Christmas by Donny Hathaway, Oh Holy Night, Feliz Navidad, and also the Christmas song. I have a bonus one. I know I said 5, but for me it's 6. Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. And somebody on Derry Ashford just pulled over right now. I know, like, did this joker just say Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC? I did. Somebody on Westheimer right now is trying to pull over. Like, he did say that, didn't he? Yeah, I did. I mean, I was 12 years old when that song came out, 1987. And to this day, I mean, that's my wife. I mean, we were driving to see family over Thanksgiving, and she was listening to our Christmas music. And I said, well, search Christmas rock, Christmas in Hollis. And she played it, and she looked at me like, are you really serious listening to the song right now? I'm like, yeah, I am. So those are mine. I want to hear yours. Again, at Will Gibson 7, at Will Knows. Also Will Knows, or actually at Will Knows Sports on the screen there, and also Will Knows on Facebook. But today is Thursday, and keeping up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge. Lunch breakers are in the building, and they know because it's week 14, and the top 6. For those that are new to the show, AJ has a Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge weekly that listeners pick the games. I believe picks have to be in by Thursday at 6:25 Central Time, 7:25 Eastern, and tabulations are made, and you pick a winner for each game, the Thursday night game, each game on Sunday, and also for the Monday night game, there's a tiebreaker. So you pick a score. So this week being Rams at Cardinals, you pick Rams 31, Cardinals 17, total 48, and that's your tiebreaker. So from what I hear, it's a tight race for the top 6, and the top 6 go on to the playoffs. So this is crunch time now. So make sure you get your picks in at AJ at KYOKsports.com, at AJ at KYOKsports.com. And I decided this week I was going to do it. I'm not going to enter, but I have my picks, and I want to hear, and I want to hear yours. So starting tonight, Thursday, Steelers at Vikings. Sorry, Jeffrey Helms, but I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings to win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Vikings are due. I mean, they've lost 7 games this year by a combined 28 points. So there's been walk-off field goals. There have been last-second touchdown passes last week against against Detroit. So I think this is the week that the get-right game, if you will, the get-right game. So I think the Steelers are going down to the Vikings. Sunday's games, Cowboys at football team. And that's what it says. I'm not making Cowboys at football team. I can't pick a team that doesn't have a name. So Longhorn Keith, I'm picking the Cowboys. Jaguars at Titans. Urban Meyer's getting it together maybe one day, but not Sunday. I'll pick Tennessee Titans to win that one. That's going to be an interesting game. This could be an interesting game from the coaching standpoint. You have Urban Meyer on the sidelines for the Jacksonville Jaguars and Mike Vrabel on the sidelines for the Tennessee Titans. They share the staff. Mike was Urban's defensive coordinator for a year in Columbus, his first year at Ohio State. So that should be interesting. Those two clashing, if you will, on Sunday. Seahawks at Titans. I know I'm in Houston. I know him in Houston. David Culley, I'm sure, is a great man. I had nothing but great experiences with Tyrod Taylor his time in Cleveland, but I will be picking the Seattle Seahawks to beat the Texans on Sunday. Raiders at Chiefs. The Raiders seem to have the Chiefs number, but I think last week, and it's December, and I think the Chiefs have turned that corner. Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy have seemingly righted the ship, and I think the Chiefs win it at home over the Raiders. Saints at Jets. The Jets are a mess right now. I'll pick the Saints. Falcons at Panthers. Cam is back. I think the Panthers win. Not necessarily so much Cam is back, but I think the Falcons are worse. So, law of attrition, I guess I'll pick the Panthers for that one. Ravens at the Browns. Now, I kind of played around in my mind. Should I pick this? Because, on College Game Day, when Kirk Herbstreit has to call a game, he'll just say, "Well, Kirk's calling the game, so he won't make a pick on this one." Seeing that I'm covering the Browns, maybe I won't make a pick on this one. No, I have to. I'll pick the Cleveland Browns, even though I just said Anthony Walker's out, David Njoku's out. Their defense, now granted, Baltimore is going to make adjustments. I don't expect Lamar Jackson to throw 4 interceptions again this Sunday, but Baltimore has a lot of injuries. They lost Marlon Humphrey, their all-pro cornerback, this past Sunday against the Steelers with I believe a pectoral injury. He's out for the year. So their secondary is out. They've lost several running backs throughout the season. And I think this finally catches up to them. And I think the Browns, after a bye and the physical game that Baltimore played last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think Baltimore loses in Cleveland. The Browns win that game. Giants at the Chargers. What is it with New York teams? I said the Jets are a mess. The Giants are even a worse mess than the Jets, if that's possible. But I think it's going to be the Chargers. Justin Herbert is, I think he's turned the corner. I think he's pretty much on his way to being a preeminent quarterback in this league in only his second year. So I'll pick the Chargers for that one. The Lions coming off their first win of the season at Denver against the Broncos. I'll pick the Broncos. Although I want to pick the Lions. Part of me wants to pick the Lions, thinking that they could have something to start a streak, but I think it'll be the Broncos. 49ers at Bengals. That'll be a great game. That'll be a phenomenal game. The 49ers are playing well right now. They got healthy. They had a lot of injuries early on. Kittle's back. Jimmy Garoppolo was playing well. Joe Burrow for Cincinnati is starting to I don't want to say hit the wall. He only played 10 games last year, so he's had a few injuries so far. Jamar Chase, his rookie receiver, maybe starting to hit a little bit of a wall. T. Higgins. But that defense in Cincinnati is vastly underrated. So because of them, I'll pick the Bengals. Buffalo Bills at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That has to be Tampa Bay. Again, similarly to the Chiefs, and it's ironic that those are the two teams that were in the Super Bowl last year, the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Similarly to Kansas City, you see Tampa Bay starting to turn that corner. And with them turning that corner, it's December. It's winning time. And winning teams know what to do in winning time to get it done, that playoff drive, that playoff push. And I think the Buccaneers are doing that. Bills, I think, got a little bit beside themselves on Monday night after the Patriot game. And I think they kind of, I don't know, the pressure got to them. I don't know if they thought, we finally got them against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, thinking last year because they did win the division. And they thought, hey, we've arrived. And Bill Belichick just let them know, you must have forgot. I'm still here. So because of that, a little bit of a hangover. I'll take the Buccaneers. Mr. Keith Hennick, good afternoon, sir. How are you? I'm glad you're able to join us. The Bears, Sunday night. The Bears at the Packers. The Bears, man, what is it? These major city teams, the Jets, the Giants, and the Bears, Chicago, they're a mess. And Matt Nagy, is this his swan song, if you will, the final five for him as Chicago potentially prepares to move on from him and hire new coaches. There have been reports that Ryan Day, because of the Ohio State connection with Justin Fields, potentially could be a candidate there. I don't think so. I don't believe that Ryan Day has. He's an NFL guy. He came from the NFL. I don't know that he has those aspirations to go back. I think he's pretty set and content with what he has here. But you never know. We'll talk about that later. You know, coaches seemingly content where they are, but you look up and their voices change, and they have different regional dialects and things of that nature. But I digress. So back to the game, though. I will take the Packers, Aaron Rodgers. That for what it is, for all that he is, for all that he does. I think as he said, he himself said it. I own you when it comes to the Bears. So I'll pick the Packers. Mr. Keith, I did pick the Buccaneers. I'm not sure if you were on when I saw it. When I said that, Mr. Kennick is a huge Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I did pick the Buccaneers over the Bills. And Monday night, the tiebreaker, Rams at Cardinals. Rams at Cardinals. That's going to be a big one because NFC West is tight right now behind the Cardinals. Cardinals are 9-2. I believe the Rams are 7-4. I'll pick the Rams in an upset. I'll pick the Rams. So it's just like that. It's just like that. You make your picks. You email them to AJ at KYOKsports.com. And after Monday's game, the picks are tabulated, and you're notified of your win. Top 6 go on to the playoffs. I believe the grand prize is $500. Absolutely. Yes, sir. I believe the grand prize is $500 for the winner of the Keeping Up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge. I believe the weekly winner is a $50 prize, and the top 6 going again to the playoffs, and that winner gets $500. So one day, AJ always asks me, like, when are you going to enter? When are you going to enter? And I'll tell him I'll enter, and I haven't yet. So this is my week. So these are my picks. I got them on wax. I'll take my chances with everyone else. So again, Vikings over the Steelers, Cowboys over the football team, Titans over the Jaguars, Seahawks over the Texans, Chiefs over the Raiders, Saints over the Jets, Panthers over the Falcons, Browns over the Ravens, Chargers over the Giants, Broncos over the Lions, Bengals over the 49ers, Buccaneers over the Bills, Packers over the Bears, and on Monday night, I do have the Rams beating the Cardinals on the road. And I said 31-17 before. I'll keep that score. That's a good score. So 31-17. So we're at the midway point, 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 in the East. So going from there, we should have a guest here joining us very shortly. He's finishing up some additional media obligations that he has. A good man that's taken again through AJ have known and gotten to know very, very well. I like to call him the OG KG. He's a few years older than me, but he has that old soul, as people call it, if you will. So I will shortly be joined by Houston Roundball Reviews, Kris Gardner. I call him OGKG. OGKG, Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review will be joining us shortly. Local name, global perspective, all things NBA. All things NBA. We talk Rockets, we talk Cavs, with me being here in Ohio, We talk Lakers. We talk Sacramento Kings. Whatever it is, NBA related. Kris Gardner is your guy. He'll be joining me here very, very shortly here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. Looking over some things here. Again, just going back to the Browns, that with Anthony Walker on the COVID list, a gap at linebacker. That's interesting because JOK is what he's known here in Ohio. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was drafted specifically to play the rover spy, if you will, for Lamar Jackson, which in turn frees up Anthony Walker, Mack Wilson to handle other responsibilities. And with Anthony Walker out of that responsibility falls to Sione Takitaki. And with it being Thursday, I mean, it's the NFL, next man up. I'll always be prepared. No excuses. You should be ready to go. But I'll be interested to see how the Browns respond defensively. Joe Woods has been much maligned this season, and I think some of it is unjustifiable. I think for him, if you look at the totality of what his defense has done, I think he has done a decent job, a pretty good job, if you will. But those, for whatever reason, I think it's more so the offense. You have, I don't think there's been one game since mid-October that the Browns have scored more than 20 points. I mean, they scored 10 points against Baltimore. They scored 10 points against Pittsburgh. They scored 13 points earlier this season. So it's not so much the defense, but the defense has been maligned. But I think Joe Woods has done well. So we shall see. And as I say that, Mr. Gardner.
Mr. Gibson.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I don't have the cool theme music, man. I know AJ usually welcomes you with your theme music. Every great superhero needs their theme music, and I don't have it today.
No worries. He slips up on it lately anyway. He's kind of dropped the ball on it a few times, but it's all good.
All right, my guy. Appreciate you. As I stated earlier, OGKG, Houston Roundball Review Zone, Kris Gardner, local name, global perspective. What's going on? Sir? Yes, sir.
Got that, courtesy of AJ.
Yeah.
Our reason for doing these right here. So, and I want to continue giving him his flowers for hooking us up, putting us in touch with each other, giving us the platform to share our opinions and insights and talk sports with the fans and the family now, the lunch breakers. So AJ, much appreciated to you, man. And I don't know if he forgot or not, but if he can, he's supposed to join us tonight on our show, Folks Talking Sports. But since you're doing this, I don't know if he's busy all day or what, but so I'll still send him the link and see if he can join us later on. We talk sports a little differently than we're doing right now.
Yeah, without question. And everything you said about AJ, I echo. Salute to AJ for, as you said, connecting us, giving, again, as I said earlier, sharing his platform, allowing me to share this platform. And I'm just hoping I don't mess up the church's money, bro. That's it.
Indeed, man. As long as they don't give you too many tools or be dangerous, we should be good for rest of the show.
Right. Now I know you. And I've just been thinking about this the whole time. You have a sister, I know. Are you older or younger?
I'm much older.
You're much older.
14 years older than her, yes.
14 years older. Now, do you have an older sibling or no?
Nope, just me and her.
All right. Because speaking of AJ, when I'm looking at it right now, I'm just thinking, I have his platform. I am in his realm. Mm-hmm. And I grew up only child. So I have older cousins, and I'm like, man, I feel like I'm messing in my older cousin stuff, and I don't want to mess it up.
Right, I understand. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, because I got a story.
You got the keys to the kingdom then, huh?
Man, that's what they told me. They told me. I got a story to tell though, real quick. On that, not like Biggie, but I have a story. Growing up, this is 1990. So I was 1990, quick math, 15 years old. And my mother had to travel for work. She had a week's conference out of town. So I stayed with my aunt. Shout out to Inez Hall. And I stayed with her for the week. And my other cousin was home from Howard University. All right. Now, it's just me and you, Kris. I've never told this story before. So it's just me and you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed with my aunt. My cousin was home from Howard University. And I think we had like 2 days of school left. So for those days, and I don't remember why, but maybe his job or whatever, he left before I did. So I would get up, shower, get dressed. I would go in his room from Howard University, college student, and I went shopping. So I would, first day, had a Georgia Avenue Days t-shirt on. And for those, Howard University is on Georgia Avenue, and they have homecomings, Georgia Avenue Days. So I had a Georgia Avenue t-shirt on. I think this is the 90s, so I probably had like a red, black, and green medallion on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because my cousin, I'm little big cousin. I'm shopping, right? So I wear that, and I got some jeans, and I go to school. Come home, hurry up, take them off, put my clothes back on, we good, right? So the last day of school, I do the same thing. I had a shirt, jeans, everything, got them. Came home from school. This day I fell asleep.
Uh-oh.
I fell asleep with his clothes on, right? I woke up. I'm like, oh, and I'm panicked. Like, did he come home? And I don't know it. And he saw me with his clothes on, so I hurried up, changed his clothes, and evidently he didn't, because I've never heard about it. So to that point, I think 31 years statute of limitation is exceeded. So Delbert Miller, I apologize. Delbert Miller, happy birthday. Today is ironically his birthday.
Okay.
Ironically, how about that? I didn't know that when I thought about it. I knew at the time when I was telling him, like, oh yeah, today is his birthday. So happy birthday to you and your twin sister, Debbie. And yeah, that's how I feel right now. So I'm like, I'm in AJ's space. Gotta make sure I leave this right. Don't touch that. If I move it, turn it back straight. And that's where I am right now, boss.
Yeah. Understood, man. Well, say, weren't you at the game last night?
I was at the game last night. Yes,
Cavs and Bulls, right?
Cavs and Bulls.
You might need to get tested, bro. Because it sounds like the Bulls having a breakout on the roster and everything, man. So yeah.
I was far away, bro.
Man.
Actually, I got tested Wednesday. Actually, I got tested before I went yesterday morning. But yeah, to your point, yeah, it's a little something going on in there.
Because that's the reason I try to go to as few games as possible, man. I got all the vaccines and got the boost and everything, but because I take care of my mom,
I feel you.
I don't take chances unnecessarily. So
no, you shouldn't.
Thank goodness for Zoom, so I can do enough needed via Zoom, and every so often go to practice with the Rockets or whatever. But I can wait, a little bit longer. But man, Rick Carlisle tested positive apparently.
Oh wow!
Yesterday before the Knicks game, according to Woj at ESPN. So yeah, man.
So is that why the Pacers and Raptors canceled practice? I didn't know why.
That is a breakout. So something's going on with them. So Rick Carlisle had a positive test result on rapid test after the win over the Knicks last night. He took a PCR test today to confirm it, but the results won't be known until tomorrow. That's according to Tim McMahon with ESPN. But yeah, man, the Bulls got, let's see, DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White, Matt Thomas, Javonte Green, and Derrick Jones, all in protocol.
Wow. And then Charlotte last week, what?
And then, yep.
Ball, LaMelo Ball, E. Smith, Terry Rozier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yep.
It's a lot going on.
So nothing so far with the Rockets, thank goodness. But like I said, I don't spend too much time with them,
right? If
I can avoid it. So, but anything is, anything possible. It looks like so.
Right. Speaking of the Rockets, man, I'm glad you brought them up, man, because I'm a movie buff, bro. I'm a movie head, and all I can think about when I see the Rockets now is trading places. And like, did Raphael Stone and Steven Salas give Clarence Beeks the false crop report? Because listen, man, listen, they started what, 1-15?
Let's see, 1-16 because they're now 8-16. So yeah,
Right. So 1-16, and it's like, all right, then you can see now, as you said, they won 7 straight.
yep.
And it's like, did they just sit there like, not yet, now, and like just bankrupt the Duke brothers? What? How do you explain that, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on it in a second, but real quick, as you said, Clarence Beeks, do you know? Are you a music jazz connoisseur, or
A little bit.
what would he be? What would he be? Have you heard of the artist singer King Pleasure?
I'm not.
Well, one of his famous songs, you know, it starts out with "There I go, there I go, there I go, there I go." That's King Pleasure.
Okay.
His government name is
No.
Clarence Beeks.
Stop it.
I didn't know that until like last month. And I was like, "Oh snap!"
No
But yeah,
way.
Clarence Beeks. It's his government name. So I don't know if John Landis and Eddie Murphy, when they were writing Trading Places years ago, knew that, and that's where the name came from. But what? But yes, King Pleasure's government name is Clarence Beeks.
Wow. First the Fat Boys break up, and now this. I didn't learn something today.
But on the Rockets,
Mhm.
7 in a row. It helps that they started making shots. It helps that they made a change and went away from, finally, the Christian Wood, Daniel Tice tandem in the front court, and moved Christian Wood to the center spot and went small. Moved your man, Mr. Buckeye, Jason Tate, to the power forward.
Yes, sir.
So added Garrison Matthews to the starting lineup, and he's been knocking down shots and playing with no fear. And so that was started the change. And now you got some people on the outside of the organization across the country saying, "Oh, well, since Jalen Green got hurt with the hamstring and they ain't been playing, see, the team is flowing, you know, winning 7 in a row. So Jalen, okay, slow down. Okay, that's not it. It's a coincidence because used to be one of your men, Scoot Kevin Porter Jr., hasn't played the last few games because of his recurring thigh contusion injury. But it's just a question of, this is my take on it, Will. The first 17 games, the veterans like Eric Gordon, DJ Augustine, Daniel Whitehouse were not doing what veterans Coach Silas needed. Stepping up, making key plays down the stretch, closing out games, making shots, not turning it over, but putting everything on the youngsters' plate. They weren't ready for that. Now, lately, Eric Gordon's playing better. Daniel Whitehouse had a good breakout game. Now, bless his heart, he's hurt again with a sprained ankle. But Garrison Matthews and Armani Brooks, Mr. U of H, was in a slump for him, 7 for 30 from 3. He's making threes now. So it's not a coincidence. When shots start to fall, the offense works.
Yeah.
You know.
Imagine that.
And you know, you don't get an assist unless your teammate makes the shot.
Yep.
So if I give you a great pass, Will, and you miss, no assist.
Right.
But the Rockets are now averaging like 25 assists during this winning streak. Well, that means they're making shots. So it all fits.
It's good. It's funny you said that, going back to Jalen Green. Now he's hurt, and now they're winning. And same thing here in Cleveland with Colin Sexton.
Yeah.
And, you know, Colin went out, and now look, they're going together. No, it's not because of Colin. Colin is Colin, and he does have his moments, but he's not the reason why the last 3 years the Cavs weren't successful. And now that he's not around, all of a sudden they're in the 7th seed in the East. No one saw this for the Cavs. But Yeah. So where does this go? 7 in a row, no Jalen Green. Coach Wall.
Yes.
Now I got to bring it up. Coach Wall, what's the deal?
Nothing's changed, and that's my name for John Wall because he ain't playing. So he's Coach Wall, the highest paid coach in the NBA.
Yeah.
It's catching on with folks who participate in my live streams. Let's Talk Rockets. Coach Wall. Nothing's changed in the last week. Since the discussions about John getting the itch and wants to play, and it becoming public from the national media. Nothing's changed this week. I didn't see. I've been to practice twice this week, practice/shoot around. I didn't see John there. Does not mean he wasn't in the building, but I didn't see him in the time that media was allowed in to watch. But he's been on the bench with the team, dressing, in his gear and everything, looking sharp. But Coach Silas said nothing's changed. John's trying to get in NBA shape, and he's still talking to Rafael Stone and Coach Silas, and then they'll get to a decision in January and go from there.
So that's my question. December 9th, and he's not in NBA shape. What? How, Sway? How?
Well, part of it, in order to be in NBA shape, you need to play games.
Sure.
So he wasn't, as according to him, and this was probably early November, so he was about 70% then. Mm-hmm. So I think he's gotten better. I'm just going to say this number, and I may not be right on this. I'm going to say he's around 80, 85% now because he has begun working out more vigorously. But in order to get to that ultimate 100%, got to play games. And for him to play games, he needs to decide to come off the bench because the Rockets on a 7-game streak. John Wall hasn't played. Scoot hasn't played most of them. And Jalen Green hasn't played most of these 7. So when all three of them are in NBA shape, because there's different levels for each of them, who's going to start? They're probably going to start Jalen because he's the number 2 pick in the draft.
Right.
And probably start Scoot. Well, John Wall, you're still not going to start. Why mess up a good thing? And Rocket fans, everybody, lunch breakers, look at the Western Conference standings. Mm-hmm. The Rockets are 8-16, but 4 games out of the 7th spot in the West, and like 4.5 out of 5th in the West. Now, if they were in the East, they'd be further behind than that because the script has been flipped this year. Mm-hmm. You got like 10 teams above 500 in the East and 6 above 500 in the West. So, but think about it. Start out 1-16 on a 15-game losing streak. You win 7 in a row, and yet you're only 4 games out of the 7th spot in the Western Conference.
Only in America. How does that happen? How?
So now you got to decide, are the Rockets going to start losing again at some point? Because if they continue winning, and fans chime in on this, send us comments. Yes. If they continue winning, they're going to diminish their lottery chances. And winning streak or not, in my opinion, they're not good enough still that they cannot benefit from a top 3, top 4 pick in the 2022 draft.
Well, without question. Because it's funny you said that because I looked at was it Tankathon this morning, and they had him at 5th. And the young man from the G League, Hardy, was the pick. I'm not sure if you even started draft preparations yet. But
yeah, I started looking at it. Yep.
Yeah. So that's interesting. But John Wall, what, February 24th is the trade deadline?
February 10th.
February 10th, before the All-Star game this year.
Yeah.
Okay, before the All-Star game. So February 10th, John Wall, is he in Houston as a Rocket or is he elsewhere?
He's going to be a Rocket. I mean, the scenario's got to change a lot between now and February 10th. One, he needs to play, I think, because even without it, I don't see a team trading for him sight unseen. But even if he does play, get back on the court and plays well, because I think he will play well, what team would want to take on that $42 million salary for this year remaining for this season, plus the player option next year, which he's going to opt into, of course, because it's $47 million. So what team is going to give up assets to match that salary to make it work? I don't see that happening this year. And I don't want the Rockets to give up a first-round pick just to get rid of John Wall, because that defeats the purpose. He's not playing right now, and yet you're still winning without him. Things are clicking for you. So why rock the boat and give up a first-round pick just to get rid of a man who's not playing, who you're paying to sit anyhow?
To the point, paying to sit. I know we talked about it on Folks Talking Sports, but are they looking at a buyout? I know have those discussions? No,
not yet.
Wow.
And the discussions will start if and when John Wall decides to give up some of that money.
Oh, well, they won't start then.
So let's see. That's the thing. That's why I made the comment when he put on social media about free John Wall. Well, give us some of that money. Make it worth the Rockets while, Mr. Wall. How bad? And see, it's not my money to give up.
Right.
I mean, $47 million is a lot of money. We may never see that in our lifetimes. Okay. So it's easy for us to say, yeah, John, give up some of that money. But that's what he's going to have to do to play, to be, for a buyout, because it doesn't make sense for the Rockets to buy him out at what is the remaining this year, next year, maybe $70 million. The remaining $65, $70 million. Why do that? And why John say, yeah, I want to give us some money.
Right.
But if he wants to play, he's probably going to have to do that.
Yeah, Kris Gardner, OGKG, as I love to call him again. The Houston Roundball Review, HRR.com. 7 in a row tomorrow. I'm going somewhere.
Yeah.
Milwaukee tomorrow.
Got the Bucks, yep.
Is that 8?
I'm going to say no.
Go.
Because the Bucks are not playing today. They play Wednesday night as well, so it won't be back-to-back with them. So should not be an issue of resting a star like Brooklyn did with KD and LaMarcus Aldridge. And I'm not diminishing the Rockets' win last night.
Right.
It's not the Rockets' fault that the Nets chose to rest Kevin Durant and LaMarcus Aldridge. The Rockets played who the Nets put on the floor and won. But I don't believe the Bucks are going to rest Giannis, for example. So as long as if the Bucks play their B game and up, they're going to win.
Okay.
So I'm going to say the streak ends tomorrow at 7. But if they win, they got Memphis on Saturday, and they begin, I think, a stretch of like 8 out of 9 on the road. Then I think our man J.A. Adonde used to coin this phrase not too long ago. They'll start regressing to the mean.
Yeah.
And things will come back to normal. And then we'll decide, we'll see what the Rockets want to do.
Right.
Do they want to tank? Excuse me.
Mm-mm.
Do they want to lose but play hard, and, be competitive,
right,
or they want to go for a playing spot?
Players don't tank, organizations tank.
Correct.
There you go. But so okay, Milwaukee, Memphis, and I believe Toronto.
Yep.
And then we look at Wednesday, the 15th of December. I was gonna save this for Folks Talking Sports, but
I know who the 18th is. I know that for a fact.
The 15th.
So if he's not ready by the 18th, he will be by the 15th. Jalen Green is playing against Detroit on the 18th.
Okay. Oh, for sure. But the 15th.
Rockets and Cavs. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That should be an L for the Rockets.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. No, seriously. And we joke and we clown, but and we talked about this. When they traded for Lauri Markkanen, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I didn't see it.
Right.
I did not see it. And so, AJ gives us prepared statements. I have to apologize. I will take no questions after the statement. I have to apologize to Kobe Altman, Mike Gansey, everyone in the organization, front office of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Jason Horowitz. I missed it. I didn't see it. And here it is. And not only did I not see it, then the first 2 games of the season, I watched them. I watched them against Memphis. I watched them in person against Charlotte. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. And now here they are.
Now tell me, Will, aren't they doing it kind of old school, doing it with bigs?
Yes. The biggest front line in the league.
Yeah.
Across the front. 7 foot, 6'10", 6'11". No more small ball.
So I'm kind of curious to see that matchup with the Cavs' big front line and the Rockets going small. Although I wonder, I'm going to assume this, which is dangerous, as everybody knows, if Coach Silas will put Daniel Tice in the starting lineup to go against the Cavs for that game. It may not work offensively specifically, but nonetheless to match up defensively with some of that size and height.
But the thing with the Cavs' size and the bigs, they are big, but they're athletic bigs.
Right.
They are inside out. Jared Allen shoots threes. Evan Mobley shoots threes. Lauri Markkanen clearly shoots threes.
Mm-hmm.
And the straw that stirs the drink, if you will, and this is the key for me, is why this team is progressing the way they have. Darius Garland took the next step.
Yep.
Darius Garland took the next step. And unfortunately, did it take Colin Sexton to get hurt for it to happen? Probably. Because when they played together, it just didn't happen. It didn't work. Again, Colin was not the reason they were losing. He's not. But when you have two players in the same position that play the same, not even similar, the same, it's like if you have two quarterbacks, you have none.
Right.
You got 2 point guards, you have none. And with Colin Sexton being out, Darius Garland, and not even this year, last year, he set his career high against the Bulls, 37, the game Colin Sexton missed. So it's always been there. Now it's just on a protracted sample size.
And the issue, the Rockets will face a similar issue at some point, I think, with Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr., because I don't see enough of a difference in their games that they complement each other. So they're the same. And if they're the same, I think both of them will limit each other from reaching max potential. That's how I see it. So if that happens, then Rockets will have to make a decision, going forward. I like anybody who follows me on here, on the lunch break, on Folk Talking Sports, on live streams, my old school ways. I like tall, skilled players. I thought the Rockets should have drafted Evan Mobley.
Thank you for not doing it.
So, but now he's shining in Cleveland. And you talk about 3 skilled bigs in Cleveland. I got to do it because the team I've been a fan of is trash right now. They have 0 tall, skilled bigs in Detroit.
Kelly Olynyk?
He's hurt.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah. But that's just one. And he's
Right.
hurt. Isaiah Stewart, and by tall, I mean 6'10" and up.
Sure.
Okay? Isaiah Stewart is 6'8" on a good day. And he's not a skilled offensive player. He's a hard worker. He's a grinder. That's what he is. But other than him, Trey Lyles is slow. I'm not sure Trey Lyles is more athletic than me.
He's still in the league.
And I'm almost 50. Okay?
Yeah.
He's 6'10". He can't finish around the hoop. So you contrast skilled bigs in Cleveland, who y'all have at least 3. Y'all got some on the bench too, I think.
Yeah.
And Detroit has an injured Olynyk, and that's it. So you see why Detroit is 4-20, and Cavs are what right now?
14-12.
And I'm not mad at Detroit being 4-20 because they need more talent. So ping pong balls accumulate as many as possible. So, but yeah, I was, you talk about seeing the Cavs the first 2 games. When I saw Detroit, I don't know if it was preseason or the first part of this season, I was just shocked at the lack of athleticism on the Pistons squad. I mean, it's awful. It's embarrassing, but it accomplishes what you your unstated goal for this season probably is lose as many games as possible. So that's what they're well on their way of doing.
Yeah. Let's get the real quick, Kris, the top of the hour in real quick.
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers, who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
Walk out on that field. Ask yourself this question. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. We When I step on the field, I send me one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? It's hot now. It's hot now. Let's go. It's hot. We ready? I got you. Just like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this trying to remind the heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to go through with chin straps. This ain't action. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. See much cry from him. He's a man. He can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make your big money. He's a man. Don't cry when you step on the field, man. That's who I am. I step on the field. I send you one message. And this is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's a wrap. Game over.
No, sir. This is hour 2 of the Lunch Break Throwback Thursday on the legendary KYOK AM 1140 and 92.3. I am Willy Gibson, sitting in for AJ Jones today, joined by Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. And Kris, I know we talked about, I got to switch it up a little bit because I asked this question early on and I didn't ask you, and I apologize for that. You a big Christmas guy?
Nope.
No, not at all.
No,
not
sir.
at all. Gotcha. Because I had a question of as far as go-to Christmas songs for people. And I just got a text from somebody, Anthony Harvin, my uncle actually, Anthony Harvin in Baltimore, Maryland, asked anyone
This Christmas.
This Christmas?
Yeah.
That's your song?
Yeah.
The song. Got it. Me too.
Yeah.
That's on my list. I told him I had that list. Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC.
Of course. I mean, yeah. But, it's not, that's a different little genre. But yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
When I hear it, I'm like, yep, it's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens.
Yes,
so,
sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's it. But
and one of mine is really off the beaten path is Last Christmas by Wham / George Michael. Love that song too. That's a different it's a different story behind that though.
It very much is. It very much is. Yes, it is. I'll agree. I had a question about the Wizards. Your thoughts on? I know they're in the East. They were at one point. They were top in the East, and they won. Yep. They won last night in overtime
against Detroit.
Against Detroit. See, they're getting better. Detroit went to overtime against a top team. They're now.
Oh yeah. The last 2 games they've played better, but they're still losing. So that's an important thing.
So they're 5th in the East right now. Half a game in front of Philadelphia for 6th. And it's key for this year being the second year of the new format that you finish in the top 6 because 7 through 10 are in the playoff tournament, play-in tournament.
Right.
So, Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, Trez, what's your thoughts?
They've been, before last night's win, they were struggling, and Coach Unseld Jr. was considering. He was asked if he had been contemplating making changes to the lineup, and he said, "No, we just need to play better." So if they play better, they got a nice squad. You know, Brad Beal, Trez, the former Piston whose name escapes me right now. I just saw Spencer Dinwiddie. Mm-hmm. They got nice pieces. KCP, another former Piston. Boy, Stan Van Gundy messed up Detroit. But anyway, I digress on that. They made a great trade. You know, Kuz, the Russ trade. They got talented players back from trading Russell Westbrook. So if they play well, they can avoid the play-in, avoid a 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th spot. Yeah, I think so.
Did you hear what happened to Kuz in Cleveland?
In what sense?
As far as Cavs were in Cleveland, the Cavs were winning big time in the fourth quarter over the Wizards. And some fans said the only reason Kuz has a ring is because of LeBron. And he went like the last 14 points, hit 2 corner threes, and the Wizards won.
He must have heard some of that talk last night, because he had a discussion with some fans in Detroit, and ironically, he hit the game-winning corner 3 last night against Detroit, and with like 0.6 left in overtime. And as Detroit calls timeout and the team go back to their benches, Kyle's waving to the bye. He's waving to the fans, bye, see you. And I'm like, yeah, somebody ticked him off. So sometimes fans just need to be quiet.
Right.
Because it's not, you cover pro players, athletes. Sometimes it may seem just the tiniest little thing to get a player going, and then they just go off. Wow. And because of what that fan said, that fan's team lost because that player they were heckling went off.
Yep. And know who the biggest person with that? Patty Pendergrass. The Michael Jordan.
Michael MJ, he would make up stuff to motivate him, to get him going even more so than he needed. But NBA was different. No knock. I'm showing my age again. Yes, I'm old. Get off my lawn, youngsters. Yes, I'm that dude. But the trash talk then, compared to now, is nothing. But just one of the great stories. Mike would make up stuff. I heard you talked about me. I heard you talked about my mom. I heard you talked about this. I'm gonna give you 40 tonight. Boom.
Right.
You don't like my Tar Heel blue that I'm wearing under my jersey. I'm gonna give you 50 tonight. Anything to motivate him as a slight. He just would use it and just destroy dudes. It'd be like his mission for that game to punish that opponent. Okay, I heard you talk about me. Mike, I said nothing about you. That's not what I heard. Bam, take this jumper. Bam, take this dunk. Mike, I didn't say nothing about you. Bam, that's not what I heard. Bam.
Yeah, take that.
That was Steve Kerr. I heard it with you. Mike's something else, man.
And he took that personally. But
all the time. All the time. That's what made him great. And if I may, this won't take long. I don't know who the opponent was. I'm going back further. Going back to Larry Bird when Larry Bird was healthy, in his prime. Mm-hmm. He was one of the baddest men in the whole NBA. Yep. I forgot who it was. And it doesn't matter because he did it a lot to opponents. Because for a while, the public did not know how much trash Larry Bird talked until it just started coming out eventually. But Larry would tell the opponent, see this spot right here by the 3-point line? I'm going to get the ball, make my move, and score. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Opponent's like, yeah, you didn't get to this spot. You will not get to this spot. Larry's like, okay, watch. Got to that spot over and over and over. Bucket. And look at the opponent. I told you. I'm telling you what I'm going to do, where I'm going to do it, how I'm going to do it, and you still can't stop me. He was right. That's how bad he was. But great players do that. MJ, Kobe, pick a great player. I'm going to get the ball. Akeem, I'm going to get the ball on this block right here. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a dream straight, whatever. I'm going to do it.
But you can't stop.
You can't stop it. Bucket, all day long. That's what great players do. Men and women.
Right.
Diana Taurasi, my goodness, Will talk so much. I mean, you get it now because the WBA is getting more coverage.
Right.
But she would talk junk in college.
Oh, wow.
Didn't care. I'm going to pull up right here at this 3-point line, 2 steps back in your face. Bucket. You can't stop me. I mean, oh my goodness, man. And when the comments were still in the WNBA in Houston, some of my friends who were watching the comments, some of my guy friends were like, Taurasi shoots like a guy, man. She plays like a dude. I'm like, wow. Yes, she shoots, and this is not being sexist, but there are still young ladies and some young women in basketball who got little push shots. You know what I mean? Little country push shot.
Right.
Taurasi shot like a dude forever.
All through.
So, like she played with her brothers or played with guys growing up or whatever. And that's how her game really developed. So you could see a little difference in her swag from way back when. And she's still grinding at 40 now, still giving teammates the blues. Greatness is greatness. You know what I'm saying? So all you can do. And Eric Gordon said this yesterday and shoot around before the game against Brooklyn because he's going to guard James Harden. Eric says, all I want to do is make Harden or whoever I'm guarding be inefficient, take a lot of shots to get their points. So if they may get 25, they got to take 25 shots to do it. That's really all you can do is get a great player. Just make them work for it. You may play great defense. They shoot it over you. They can tell you, Larry Bird would tell dudes, almost had it. Almost.
Yeah.
But still missed. Right. Bucket, greatness is greatness, man. But good defense will lose to great offense.
Without question. And I was going to ask you another question, but you mentioned James Harden. And what's your thoughts on, this is free agent year, contract year for him. And people have so far deemed this year a disappointment,
For him,
for him.
His standards, yes.
Yeah. So, yes, we can get to the whole Kyrie thing not being there, but his numbers are down for whatever reason. And what are your thoughts? Do you think he comes back next year to Brooklyn with KD, or does he let it go elsewhere?
Well, I think part of, and this probably is a knock on him, but part of the reason his numbers are down is because he's not getting the calls. He's not going to the free throw line as often as he did in previous years, which I think is great. And it's not his fault that he took advantage of the officiating, the Harden hook and hold on drives. You could see it on replays, how James would drive and get that arm clamped down on the defender and yet the ref call a foul on the defender for reaching in, whatever, hey, is the ref's going to call it that way? James going to keep doing it. But the NBA cleaned that up this year. So he is, that's taken a big part of his game, eliminated it. Other parts, he's not shooting well. And Garrison Matthews for the Rockets got in James' shorts last night. He stole a ball from James. He got in James's head. James didn't play well. I'm not sure James is in great shape either. That's part of it as well.
Imagine that.
He had 8 turnovers last night. So he's not playing James Harden as a Rocket, which also indicates how great he was as a Rocket. He put up just almost like video game numbers with Mike D'Antoni as head coach. Well, he's not with the Rockets anymore. He still got to get KD his touches. James can't take 40 shots a game. So that's an adjustment for him. And plus, he's getting older. Father Time's undefeated, man.
Yes, sir.
We all know it. He's undefeated. So the question will be, I think James, you need to look at it to be sure. He might have a player option on his contract, and if he does, he'll exercise it because that's big time money he's not going to turn down. But if I'm Brooklyn, I think it would be a mistake to give him a contract extension for huge dollars because I'm not sure James Harden's best days. I don't know how many more great days he has in front of him, which is kind of similar to Portland and Dame Lillard. Damian Lillard wants an extension of, like 50 mil each for 2 years. Why?
2 years, 103.
Yeah, he's 31 now, so he wants those tacked on like 36, 37. That's foolishness if I'm Portland because he's dealing with injuries right now.
Right.
So why give him 50 million plus for 2 more years when he's 36, 37, and the Blazers are struggling / stinking right now when he's 31. So they need to trade him. That's my take on that now. Trade him, let another team deal with that money, deal with that issue and Steph Curry is showing once again he's the best shooter in the NBA history, showing that. But at some point, Father Time will defeat Steph Curry. And at some point, that's going to be like one of those $50 million payrolls that he's getting seasons. And we'll see what the Warriors are capable of doing then.
All right, I'm going to give you Steph. Well, let me go back. First of all, you're right. James Harden has a player option for 22-23, $47.3 million.
It's about the same as John Wall. So yeah.
About the same as John Wall. But to your point, you mentioned Steph, greatest shooter of all time. One of. And I agree.
Yeah, one of.
I agree with that. I mean, he's 10 3-pointers away from number one all-time passing Ray Allen.
Right.
But I look at Steph Curry, and yes, he's a phenomenal shooter. Take that not away from him.
But
however, when people call Steph Curry one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, but fail to include LeBron James in that, I have a problem. Because you look at career numbers.
Well, no.
Go ahead.
Scorers, no. Shooters, yes.
Thank you.
It's different. Yeah, that's a difference. But yeah, scorers, folks are wrong. They're mistaken. They don't include LeBron with that. Yeah.
I mean, you look at Steph Curry. Steph has been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th year. And he has averaged 25 points a game in 13 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half his career. Great. 6 of 13. That's great. LeBron James is in year 19. He's averaged 25 points a game for 17 straight consecutive.
Yeah.
No misses.
In a row.
In a row. Thank you, sir. In a row.
Yeah.
But yet, third all time in scoring. Only behind Karl Malone and Kareem. In front of Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
Right.
Not only that, I know I mentioned scoring, but I have the mic. 8th all time in assists.
Yep.
8th. 3rd all time in scoring. 8th all time in assists. We talked earlier about the assists. You got to make the shot. What is it? Help me. Explain it, please.
It's rings. It's jealousy. It is people aren't used to seeing a man that big, that size, be that skilled. I mean, LeBron is a combination of Magic, Mike, and probably Larry Bird. Because, folks, youngsters first don't know, and then non-historians don't know. Larry Bird was 6'10", a small forward.
Right.
playing with Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish. LeBron is 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 260. So that's, height like Magic, an athlete like Mike. LeBron is what Len Bias probably would have been.
Man.
May he rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
Because Len Bias was 6'8", 6'9" at Maryland. At Maryland, he was 220, 225. But he would have gotten bigger and stronger in the NBA. So LeBron is, the hate on him, and some of it he brought on himself. That's a whole other discussion. You can talk about that. What do you like, how he's handled certain things, whatever. But, people don't realize, you talk about LeBron being third in scoring. I'm pretty sure some folks believe Michael Jordan is leading scorer in the NBA.
Oh, without question.
Not Karl Malone being number 2. And for sure, not realizing that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is number 1. So people don't realize how great Kareem was over a 20-year career. And Kareem was a unicorn. You talk about a unicorn like they say now, as 7-footers skilled. Kareem in high school at Powell Memorial was an athlete. Okay, I mean, he could run the floor, tall, lanky guy, could dunk, and then the unstoppable, for the most part, sky hook. He blocked shots, capped at everything.
Yeah.
As a 7'2" guy.
Yep.
So it's just, that's why I say people talk about the game is great, today's game is better and all that. Okay, well, y'all need to realize, go check your history and realize what these guys did then. Because it's pretty impressive, man. So, but I enjoy it, and it's good for debate.
Yeah, without question. They changed the rules for Cap.
Yep.
They outlawed dunking in college because of Lou Alcindor.
And he compensated and adjusted to that, and was still a dominant man. Yeah,
right. So yeah, take nothing away from him without question, man. But Piston fan, this is my question I was going to get at earlier. As a Piston fan, Isaiah Stewart, LeBron, that whole debacle, shenanigans, whatever that you want to describe that as.
Yeah.
I think the young man took it too far. Not just because it was LeBron. Okay, you got hit. It was fine. But I'm okay.
Oh no, he took it too far. No, he took it too far. He overreacted, and he stayed hot for far too long. He felt the blood dripping down and set him off. But from a teammate perspective, like I said, Kelly Olynyk was already out. Detroit has no other quality bigs beside him. He cannot get himself taken out of a ball game because, you can argue cheap shot because you're bleeding, whatever. But he got suspended because of what he did afterwards, never leaving the floor. It took so long to leave the floor. Mm-hmm. His team is not good enough to be successful with him not playing. So he has to do better and understand his value to his team. And, brush it off. I mean, it's easy to say, yep, I haven't got hit in the face, hit in the eye by LeBron James, whatever. But, draw the blood, and you just got to suck it up and say, okay, because if he would have stayed in the game, Detroit probably would have won that game.
Agreed.
Instead of losing the 17-point lead because they had no one to match up with Anthony Davis at all. And he did a good job against AD while he was in there. But once he got ejected, Trey Lyles, like I said, Trey Lyles can't beat me in the athleticism contest. That's how it looks. I'm pretty sure he can because, he's 6'10", whatever. Sure. But, he's the only size left on the team with Isaiah Stewart getting stitched up. And because he failed to leave the court in a timely manner, he got ejected. Because the refs were checking the monitor and saw that he got hit. He wasn't going to get tossed He got tossed because he never left the floor. And he ran after everybody, like a football player.
Right.
Can't do that on a team that needs you. So he's gotten better since then to avoid early foul trouble. He's doing a better job keeping himself in ball games. So I think hopefully he'll use that as a learning experience, and he won't lose his cool like that again.
Yeah. And it was interesting that when they played a week later, I was looking for that. Number one, I thought they were going to suspend him at least 5 games. So
I did too.
Yeah. So he would miss that rematch, but they didn't. And from all accounts, he was cool. He was cool. But speaking of the Lakers, 13-12 right now, 6 in the West.
4.5 ahead of the Rockets.
4.5 ahead of the Rockets. Yes, sir.
13-12 against 8-16.
Yeah, that's the West for you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, speaking of that, all right, so 8-16 in the West gets you that. 8-16 in the East gets you
13th or 12th.
It's not even an 8-16 team in the East. Number 13, you said they were 13 in the West at 8-16? Right here. Yep, they're 13 in the West, 8-16. 13 in the East is 11-16, 3 games better.
Yep.
Indiana.
And that's why I said Detroit is 4-20. They are like 9 games out of 7th spot in the East. Or something like that. 9 and 10, whatever.
Indiana at 11-16, 13 in the East is starting to have a fire sale. Everyone's up. Karis LeVert, they're talking Karis LeVert to the Cavs.
Okay, you said Indiana is 11-16, right?
Yes.
They're 13.
They're 13.
Detroit is 4-20.
Yep.
So they are 4 behind in the loss column, 7 behind in the win column. That's 5.5 right there out of 13th.
Yep. 5.5 out of 13.
So yeah, Detroit, I don't have to worry about them making a play-in. That's not gonna be an issue at all.
No. So
just get better, Cade get better, and he's playing better. Played pretty well last few weeks,
right?
Except for the turnovers. But he needs help, and you're not gonna get more help until you stink for one more year.
So is Troy Weaver gonna be patient with Dwayne Casey?
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I mean, he should, but the fans, I see it. Fans are fans. They're upset. They want Dwayne Casey fired. And before the Rockets won 7 in a row, Rocket fans, some Rocket fans wanted Steven Silas fired. And my response to both fan bases this season, for what?
Yeah.
To accomplish what? They weren't going, not Rockets to change it because they're in the West and they're closer to a play-in than Detroit. But the goal this year was to be competitive, lose, and get a high pick in the draft.
Yep.
Well, Detroit is doing their part, and in the East, it's helping because it's really, really competitive. But the Rockets in the West, 8-16 in the West 4 years ago. You couldn't see the playoffs.
Right.
Without a telescope.
Mm-hmm.
But they're 4 games out of 7. Think about that, Will. 5 years ago. Because that 7 and 8 spot made the playoffs 5 years ago, not just the play-in 7 through 10.
Right.
Now they're 4 games out of the 7th spot with a losing record.
Yeah.
Times have changed, man.
Yeah. What was it? The year, speaking of losing records, making the playoffs, the year Jordan scored 63 in Boston Garden, they made the playoffs at 30-52.
Yeah.
The 8th seed.
Yep.
30-52. And yeah, Jordan scored 63 in game 2. I think the final score was 135-131 in overtime. Yep. They got swept. Chicago got swept.
Right.
So I digress. All right. Still making my LeBron point, just on the low. But no. You cover Russ. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, covered Russ his year, and he was covering his entire career, but specifically that year in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's in LA. They're 13-12, number 6 in the West. 13-12, number 6 in the West. And I had somebody when they were, I don't remember the record at 14 games. It's 14 games in. Are the Lakers going to make the playoffs? It's 68 games left.
Right.
What are we talking about here? 68 games left. Now they're 13 and 12. 25 games left, or 25 games in. So that's 57 games left.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe there's any issue with the Lakers making the playoffs. But now the narrative has changed from, well, they make the playoffs to, oh, they're one and done. Because if they get 7 or 8, they're going to face Golden State, or they're going to face Portland, or I'm sorry, they're going to face Phoenix. 3, I think, is Utah. They stay at 6, they face Utah. They're one and done.
So if the Lakers are healthy, because they haven't been healthy yet this season,
right?
I wouldn't want to face them in the first round of the playoffs.
That's my point. Exactly.
Yeah.
Utah does not want to see LeBron, Carmelo, Russ, AD in the playoffs. Rondo.
Neither does Phoenix.
Right.
None of them do want to see a healthy Lakers team in the first round. None of them do.
Thank you.
But will they be healthy? That's a huge question right there. We don't know. But LeBron, look at LeBron.
Right.
Father Time is undefeated. LeBron has started to deal with these nagging injuries more and more as he gets older, despite his tremendous workout routine. But Father Time is still undefeated. It may take a while, but Father Time gonna get you.
Yeah. To that point, LeBron turns 37 in 3 weeks. 37 in 3 weeks.
And it's averaged, I think, 30 points a game the last 6.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. Right. So I'm just saying, not to go OJ, but just saying. He is a bad man. And the folks who want to hate on him, go ahead and hate on him. You don't want to appreciate his greatness, that's on you. Right.
But I know what I see.
Right.
And we may not see it again for a while. So I know what I see.
Exactly. And that's the thing. If ever. Because
yes.
I'm you're biased, you're from Ohio, you're from Akron. Yes, all that's true, but I know what I see.
Right.
And I haven't seen this before. And it's crazy because you mentioned a combination of Larry and Magic and Mike. I saw a clip of LeBron in high school, and he said, I patterned my game after Penny. And it was like, man. So you got Karl Malone playing like Penny.
Yeah.
Karl Malone was 6'9", 260.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is 6'8", 260, 665.
Right.
And he patterns his game after Penny. Penny Hardaway.
Right.
6'7", 195.
Yeah.
Point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see that again.
No.
You're not going to give that man his post.
It's going to be a long time before we see it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not his sons.
No.
Nothing, no knock on them.
Right.
But LeBron is just different. He was born different, and he has handled nearly everything thrown at him and succeeded. He has lived up to the hype and surpassed it. So, kudos to him, and I criticize him when necessary because that's part of my job.
Right.
I'm not going to, blow smoke all the time. I'm going to be objective and I call it like I see it. But I know what I see. Greatness is what I see. And he is also proof that you still need a team to win championships. He carried the Cavs to the finals a lot. But the team wasn't good enough to win the whole thing a lot. That's not a knock on him. Teams still win championships in the NBA. Go figure, in team sports.
Wow.
Teams win championships.
Yep.
So, Akeem Olajuwon was great for quite a while, but dreamed that I win the 2 championships until his teammates got better and stepped up.
Yep. Yep. So, look again, staying in the West, the Warriors 21-4 without James Wiseman without Klay Thompson? Is it just pretty much rubber stamp? It's theirs. I mean, I know we know better, but 21-4. I mean,
they've surprised me with how well they played, how well they're playing. Jordan Poole stepped up again. Steph Curry's playing well. Steph Curry's being Steph Curry. But the Warriors are winning because of what? Because his teammates have gotten better and are playing better. And some of them are playing over their heads. Andrew Wiggins is playing better consistently, living up to his potential. It's not a surprise. Hey, Steph's teammates, what happened to them last year when they lost early in the play-in?
Right.
Steph played well, but his teammates didn't step up, didn't come through in the clutch. It's team sport. Steph, as great as he is, as great as LeBron is, Dream, Mike, because you and I know and have said Mike did not win any ring without Pippen.
0.
Okay, 0. Steph is not setting his own picks. He's not passing himself the ball. He's not rebounding and passing the ball to himself. So he has teammates to do those things to help him win, to help him get open, to help him defend. All these things. Teams win championships, not individuals.
Man, now I got to come. Now you just took me. You took me there. Why is it? And it's like nails on a chalkboard to me or matter of fact, Charlie Brown's teacher to me, when people say, when you ask the question, how is LeBron or how is Michael better than LeBron? And the first thing they say is 6 rings.
Yes.
Well, number 1, LeBron has 4. Number 2, Scottie has 6 as well. So if Mike has 6, furthermore, Robert Horry has 7.
Yes, that's my response to that all the time. If it's all about rings,
right?
Well, Robert Horry has more than Mike, right? No, they're right.
Right. So why is that? But to my question being, why do we never have that conversation on other sports? Well, man, who's better, Hank Aaron or Barry Bonds? Or who's better, Dan Marino or Joe Montana? We never have those conversations, but it's always Mike and LeBron. And then for conversation pieces, people think Kobe is slighted. Oh, what about Kobe? Well, but what is it, that whole Mike LeBron thing, that we don't have in other sports?
Well, you and I know, and we're probably gonna get some flack for this. You and I do not deify Mike.
Right.
Okay. And we come at it from different perspective. One, I'm a Pistons fan, a Bad Boys fan. So by that definition, I can't stand Mike. As a Chicago Bull, can't stand him. Respect his game. I'm not stupid, but I do not deify Michael Jordan. And those folks who treat him, and this is some in media as well, which really makes it bad, because I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about media. Don't know or forgot or choose to ignore the fact that Mike did not win a ring until his 7th or 8th year in the NBA.
Right.
There was talk in his probably 5th or 6th season. What's wrong with Michael Jordan? When's he going to carry a team to a championship? He does not have that championship medal to carry a team to the promised land. Then he wins. Pippen gets better, overcomes his issues, mental issues, migraines. Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, Steve Kerr, John Paxson, Ron Harper, Dennis Rodman. All these teammates stepped up their games, and Mike won 6 out of 8 years. Like they all forgot about those previous 6 seasons when Mike didn't win squat.
Right.
I didn't forget those years. I didn't forget those years when the Pistons thumped the Bulls in the playoffs. Yes, they went 7 1 year, 6 1 year, then 7. Detroit won all those series. The series people always remember, though, is the year the Bulls swept the Pistons and Detroit walked off the floor without shaking hands to Mike and then before sports.
Right.
Did not remember the fact that the Celtics did the same thing to Detroit 3 years ago, 3 years prior.
Yeah.
Oh, well, whatever. It's Michael Jordan this. Michael Jordan does no wrong. Okay, well, me as a Pistons fan and the people in Detroit, we didn't forget that. Haven't forgot that. So I'm not going to deify Mike. I respect his game. Always have, always will. But I also know what I saw.
Yeah.
And the same thing I said about Steph. Mike averaged 37 points a game. But Mike did not. The Bulls averaged 105. Okay? I didn't say Mike averaged 105. Mike averaged 37. So that means his teammates scored the other 68. Because it's a team sport. Teams win championships. Pippen played well. Horace played well. Dennis got the rebounds. Bill Cartwright, the three-headed monster at the 5 spot that the Bulls had for years.
Yep.
They did their role. Teams win championships. So the deification of Michael Jordan and, that ESPN plus 10 part whatever, I watched 30 minutes of it when it was about the Bad Boys. And that was it.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't care less about Mike. I'm a Pistons fan. Bad Boys, as you can see on my shoulder right there on that wall.
Yep.
That's a back-to-back t-shirt right there. Okay? I pulled out the drawer to help out with some background because folks are saying your wall is too bland for your live streams. Man, you need to do something with your wall. So I did that. So right there on my shoulder is the back-to-back championship for Detroit Pistons right there. So hate gonna hate, whatever. But that's and I told my dad and my sister and my friends, when I die in my coffin, I want that shirt and the Detroit Pistons jersey in my coffin.
Wow.
I'm Bad Boys till I die. And if afterlife exists, I will be one in the afterlife as well. So you can get an idea. I say all that to say once again, I could not care less about Michael Jordan.
Well, so you true to this, not new to this. I get it.
Yes, sir.
I get it. Well, there's a couple of things you said, man. It's like Michael Jordan. No one remembers that. Historians will make you believe that he only had a 6-year career.
Yes.
They talk about the 6 titles. They don't talk about the years before. Certainly don't talk about the Wizards. Oh, no. He didn't. Those 2 years at Washington? No, we never talk about that. But those 6 years that they won, we hear about it. And then LeBron gets beat down. Well, he had to go to Miami and be with Wade and Bosh and this. Well, you just named it. Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, Luke Longley, Dennis Rodman. Why do we never talk about Jordan's teammates? And closeout game, I think it was 96 when they played Seattle. Closeout game. Jordan shot 5 for 22.
Yep.
5 for 22 and a closeout game. And please don't understand, this is not me bashing Michael Jordan. It's just telling the other side of the story.
It's facts.
Let LeBron shoot 5 for 22 in a playoff game, not a closeout game, not a finals game, in a playoff game. Let LeBron shoot 5 for 22 tomorrow against Memphis. Oh, they're coming. They're coming for his head, his neck, everything.
Oh, I told you LeBron he couldn't make shots. He didn't have that killer gene. I told you all that.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's only 3rd all time in scoring and 8th all time in assists. But
yeah, media latches on to their favorites, just like fans do it. And it should not be the way, but it is. Media, especially national media, is not objective. But that's the world we live in, unfortunately. And when Mike came back, Mike and that team lost to Orlando, lost to Penny and Shaq.
Yes.
But you don't hear that.
Nope.
So it's the narrative that the media puts out there, the spin of it all. As a local media, national, global perspective now, and as a Detroit Pistons fan, I just brush it off. I know the Bulls got 6 rings. Detroit got 3. I know 6 is more than 3. I know that. but I know what I saw. I also know that Mike lifted weights and got stronger, and he said this himself because of the pounding he took from Detroit. And he realized he needs to get stronger to take these physical beatings the Pistons put on his behind for 3+ years in the playoffs. So it's the steps. The NBA growing up was steps. Teams had to take their lumps in the playoffs. It is always Boston in the East. Philly had a few years. Lakers in the West. Rockets jumped in the Lakers twice. But teams had to take steps. Detroit had to lose to Boston in the playoffs to learn that. What do they say? To feel that pain of losing, that motivation you need to exceed that step next year, to go from semifinals to the conference finals to the NBA finals. Had to do all those things. The Bulls did the same thing. The Bulls had to go through steps, go through loss, go through Detroit. They got those steps. And they won. Because I could argue the years that they won the champion, it does not change the fact they won the championships, but the NBA overall was down. Overall, scoring was down, shooting was down, quality of play was down. But somebody still had won the championships, and the Bulls did. Right. They're not going to give them away, give them back, say, well, that's not going to be a star by it. Well, the NBA was down these years that the Bulls won these championships. No. The Bulls won 6 out of 8 because it's hard. Just a cliche I say all the time. It's hard to win in pro sports. It's hard to win one championship.
Yes.
People hate on that. Well, y'all didn't play so-and-so. Ain't my problem. Won one championship. Then you do it 2 years in a row. That's harder. Well, you didn't play so-and-so this time. Ain't my fault. I won 2 in a row. Then they did it 3 years in a row. What you gonna say then? The Bulls did it twice. Repeated twice. So I'm not taking away from that as a team accomplishment. I'm just saying all that to say Michael Jordan did not do it alone.
The best, man. Houston Roundball Reviews on OGKG, Kris Gardner. I know we've been focused on the NBA, but I know earlier today you had some media availability with Houston Cougars head coach Kelvin Sampson. And anything you'd like to share from that? Or
yeah, Coach Sampson. It was brief today. I'm not really sure why. It's probably the briefest media session Coach Sampson's had with us via Zoom, and it was so short. I wonder if he's going to continue doing it because it was so short. It was less than 10 minutes. Me, one other colleague asked questions. That was it.
Wow.
Even though we had more folks who were on the call, they did not ask questions. But basically, it was about the matchup Saturday on the road against Alabama. Listen to this, Will.
Sure.
Houston at Alabama, December 11th, basketball at Alabama, 9 p.m. Central tip-off. 9 p.m. So Alabama, I think it's 10 o'clock Eastern. Let's just say it like that for folks in Cleveland.
Right.
Why? On ESPN2. So it's a 2 teams, top 10, top 15 matchup. Should be a lot of fun, a lot of athletes. Alabama masked Gonzaga a few days ago, I think Saturday on the 4th in Seattle. So it should be an entertaining matchup, and we'll see. It's a road game. I'm kind of curious to see, and Coach Sampson is as well, to see how his team performs on the road, the first true road test this season against a top 10 team.
9 p.m. Central. That's interesting. That is interesting. I was trying to think. Well, I know the Heisman Trophy ceremony is Saturday, but not at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. So that's interesting that that's just that late. But and then also Texas Southern, Coach Johnny Jones, his team. This was I thought I misread it when I saw it. They beat Florida, which that's fine. They beat them 69-54.
Yes, sir.
Right. All right. So Florida's ranked number 20. Beat Ohio State at the buzzer, but I digress. Was that Texas Southern's first win of the season?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I
Yep.
saw that and I'm like, no, that's not 1-7. That's 7-1. That's that's a transposed numbers.
And the irony of it, you know, TSU, like most HBCUs, have to play non-conference games to get that check.
Mm-hmm.
So they were 0-7 prior to beating Florida. Their 7th loss was at La Tech last Wednesday, I think. They gave up 87 points to La Tech, lost by 27.
Wow.
You know, I spoke with interview Coach Jones yesterday, interviews on Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. He said that was their game against La Tech was their worst performance of the season so far. So to see them bounce back, beat an SEC team on the road by 15 points, and they led at halftime by double digits, I think.
Wow.
So, Keith, thank you very much, man. Happy Thursday to you. And they won by 15. They were up by 20. They had 22 turnovers.
Wow.
And still won by 15.
Wow.
And it was the first loss. I mean, spin it from TSU perspective. From the first win of an HBCU over an SEC team ever on the road for sure, ever. SEC's, I think, was 51-0 against HBCUs prior to that. Wow. So when my friend texted me, because I was at U of H watching U of H destroy Alcorn State, I'm like, that started kind of slow. Then they ended up pulling away. He said, "TSU won by 14." I was like, "What?" So I had to go check it, and it was twofold. One, they won at Florida, but then the margin, I was like, "What?" So I had to look at the box score. Yeah, they won by 15, and it was how they did it. So what this does for me, and what Coach Jones is waiting to see, because today was their first practice after since Monday's game, finals, getting back, studying for finals, Wednesday, is to see how the guys, his players, respond in practice. Do they coast? Do they think, hey, we beat Florida now? We ain't got to do nothing anymore. We playing in the SWAC ain't nothing. So we didn't. So he's kind of curious to see how his veteran squad handles success. Because yes, there's no Florida in the SWAC, but you still have to play the game,
right?
And you still have to respect the opponent. And for SWAC schools, for small conferences, your conference play, those 18 games you play conference, it's important for win-loss. But it's those 3 or 4 games you play in the conference tournament that you got to win to get to the big dance. So TSU could go 18-0 in conference play, have one bad game in the tournament, in the conference tournament, and won't go to the NCAA tournament.
Wow, that's true. You're right. Man, this is where you go for the Houston Roundball perspective. Kris Gardner, HoustonRoundballReview.com. We are closing up on the end of the show, Kris. So you would tell the people how they can get in touch with you and find you. As
always, man, glad to be on the lunch break with you, AJ, etc. Appreciate it, as always, being with the Breakers. HoustonRoundballReview.com, also thehrr.com. Houston Roundball Review on YouTube. And this week, I started adding playlists to the channel. So folks, if they want to search by name or by team, you can find, if you're a fan like Kelvin Sampson videos, you can go see those now. So I'm trying to add little chapters and stuff to the channel, see if that boosts the viewership. But numbers still going up to the channel on Houston Roundball Review. This man here, Mr. Willy Gibson, and me will be hosting Folks Talking Sports this evening on YouTube and Facebook, along with James Mueller from the Daily Cougar and Tamer Knight from the Night Agenda. She'll be joining us as well. So watch us on social platforms. My Twitter account is the HR Review. It's going to be on YouTube as well, Houston Roundball Review. Houston Roundball Review on Instagram. As well as said a few times, the Houston Roundball Review has been around since 1994. Houston Roundball Review Local name, global perspective.
Indeed. Thank you, brother, as always.
My pleasure, man. Glad to spend time with you today.
Indeed. Look forward to tonight.
Yes, sir. And 8 o'clock Eastern.
8 o'clock. Thank you. Can you tell that story? You want me to tell it? Tell us, please. Can you tell that story?
Go ahead.
No, man. Listen. All right. So I'm in the Eastern time zone. They're in the Central time zone in Texas, and so we would always promote the show 7 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Central. I'm like, okay, can the East Coast get some love? What? Central time zone have love for Will Know Sports. I digress, but yeah. So thank you. 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, sir.
Folks talking sports, and stick with me, man. I got to close it out as well because I just want to thank AJ Jones again for sharing this platform. Lunch breakers, thank you. AJ Jones again, thank you. Make sure you listen tomorrow to the lunch break, Freestyle Friday. Dr. Jennifer Tebow, and AJ pulled the curtain back a little bit for me this week and allowed me to see some things, and that show is going to be fire. I'll leave that there. That's her show. I just know I will be tuned in. I want you to make sure you guys do as well. Willy Gibson, Twitter at Will Knows Sports, at Will Gibson 7, Facebook Will Knows Podcast. Thank you. Hope I did a good job. Hopefully I'll be able to join you guys again soon. And Donnie McClurkin is next here on the legendary KYOK AM 1140 and 92.3 FM.